Conrad TV, no hearsay. Hey, hey.
Mayday.
It's Conrad TV, no hearsay. Hey, hey.
Mayday.
It's Conrad TV, no hearsay. Hey, hey.
Mayday.
It's Conrad TV, no hearsay. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. Hey, hey. One thing is certain, it's gonna be crazy, yo.
Conversational radio TV, just different.
Hey, hey. Boss, my melody des.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live.
Yes.
Every single Friday from 4 to 6. It is Conversational Radio TV with me, Sihume Tato Ishmael Molamu. Musimano wa motswana wa mata wa motswana wa Molamu. Ha! Khazwane ya tapedi. Baro kene mudimo sana nonyana musimane wa Hikeng. Tito, T-H-A-T-O.
Hey, buzz, bro. Like, if you're a rapper, you just... In fact, you know what I mean? I think I'm going to actually feature you on a song. You're like, Tito, T-H-A-T-O. I got mad farms.
It's high time.
Nigga, you from moms. You had a swimming pool. Well, dog,
Yeah, that's true.
I got mad land, and I think that's cool. That's you rapping right now. Like, you're just talking about your land.
That's true.
But it's Musu Claw, bro. Right?
Monsieur Maklala. Welcome. It's a beautiful Friday. Today we've got two great speakers that have come on. Mefarai Mubai, and also we've got Pume, a designer, sound engineer. The man has got his own label out. He's got his own design, his retail.
And he's a mechanical engineer.
I just said so, though. Did you not hear me?
No, some things need re-emphasis.
Yeah. Wow. All right. I'm sure everybody at home, they really, really enjoyed the re-emphasis. But Muso, how was your week, man? How was your week? What did you get up to?
My week was actually, it was shit.
Okay.
You know? It was shit. I had a shit week.
Damn,
because
man.
there was so much to do. No. I just feel like, yeah, it was shit, but shit good. You know,
Shit good.
Yeah, shit good.
Please explain what shit good looks
Shit
like.
good means that, look, it was shit because I had a lot of shit to do.
Okay.
But shit good because when you've got shit to do, that's kind of good, you know. It's better than being idle.
Okay.
You don't want to be idle. You know,
Yeah,
you want to be
yeah.
busy. And yeah, it was a good week. It was weird.
Yeah.
But it was good. How was your week?
Man, my week was super fantastic, and I want everybody at home, right, to know that me and my boy released a song, right? It's called The Numbers. So I just thought that I could go live with the song.
What up?
No, my song, Numbers.
Who's you and your boy?
Are you guys ready?
I'm not your boy. Wait, hold up.
Wait.
How do I not know? I thought
Wait.
your boy was me.
Wait, we recorded the song, you remember? Are you ready at home? Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8,
9, 10,
11, 12, 13,
and 14, 15, 16, and 17,
18, 19, 20.
and a 21, and a 22, and a 23,
24, 25,
and a
26.
26, and a 27, and a 28.
You are. It actually ends at 28.
Man, I saw this video on Twitter and I was like, what the hell? And I'm actually just expecting that this guy's just gonna do like 1, 2, 3, and then he's gonna get in the song, and then he doesn't do anything. And now we are there. We are just waiting, wondering how you doing, Mr. Milner. Trust that you're having a wonderful day. That's great. Love it when I see leaders coming in the business. You know, just to check how well we are doing today. We are doing fantastic. So, hi. Lena CBC says that, hi, it's tough in this country. Absolutely, guys. You know, yesterday we listened to the president. I don't know what you guys took out of it, right? For me, I'm just wondering. Schools are closed. Right? Kids were finding some sense of activity. Kids were finding some sense of sanity.
Yeah.
Now, all of that sanity stuff now has just been shut down. I'm worried about what does this mean for kids, man? What does this mean for a young kid who's just thinking that I've been home, I've been stuck with my parents, things aren't moving, you know, I mean, we love our parents, and I think our parents also love us.
Yeah.
But I think this has been probably the most psychologically challenging time for parents.
One of my mates, I was at one of my mates' houses yesterday because we live in the same complex, because you know what's going on at my place. Busy doing some work. So he's staying with obviously he's got some young bloods staying with him. He's taking care of his younger kins. And I was asking them, he was on a Zoom meeting, so I was just chilling there asking them, like, guys, how does it feel like?
Yeah.
Like, you guys are in high school.
Yeah.
Yes, you guys are in private schools, but you guys are in high school. How does it feel like? Like, you're not seeing your mates. What's going on?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel? They're like, nah, dude, no, man, it's messed up that we can't see our friends, etc., etc., etc. And I'm like, yeah, man. Then I was like, so tell me, how do you guys do the work and stuff? And these little niggas were telling me that they've got apps to date now, whereas they can like take a mathematics sum by scanning a phone
and gives them the
answer. Nah. And then they get it right. It even gives them the steps, the solutions, the equations. So I was like, that's why you motherfuckers got corona. Because you guys have this. You guys have all of this. So Mudima, corona, because
I'm not sure how to respond to the fact that people that are using apps, to improve their schooling.
To pass. But then going
so
back.
you call that cheating?
That's definitely not cheating because you're using. Look, wait. So my thing was that people were like, okay, Ramaphosa came onto the screen yesterday.
8 o'clock.
And do you know that as much as we have a problem with the government, you know that Ramaphosa is our brother, not from a political sense. Me and you, like Ramaphosa is like our mentor.
Yeah.
So, but then apart from that, so this guy comes on TV like, yo, public schools are closed. Like public schools are closing. Blah 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 blah. And then now people are like, no, but then does that mean that private school children have private immune systems? You're like, but what do you mean by that?
Listen, is it a valid question?
No. So here's the thing. Many, if not most, private schools, you're dealing with schools and teachers and learners who have access to digital resources.
Yeah.
Nah. Whereas
and also social
school carries on. Yeah.
And also
school carries on exactly because there aren't that many learners in the class.
Yeah.
School carries on. Everything carries on as normal. And now people are like bitching. But you're like, but didn't you want the schools to be closed? They're like, yes. Is your child in a public school? Yes. So why are you crying?
I want to read 3 at least 4. Lena says, anxious, idle, scared, frustrated, which breeds misbehaving and depression. Chumani says, schools are closed, but private schools are not closed. I still find inequality. Right? I am the heavily princess. Says, parents complained when the schools opened that their children are at risk of getting coronavirus. So I guess the government is responding to their cries. But now, why are private schools still open? Right? And then B. Matsipani says, essay, lerata complain. When schools are open, close schools president. When they are closed, how are the kids going to cope? Tato, na, lena, kintatarui. And then obviously then Lena speaks about the software that turns normal text into lawyer speak. By the way, isn't like... There's a software that turns normal text into coding functions. Technology is really taking over. I mean, these are really confusing times. And I mean, living in a country where you've got more than 11 official languages, right? Probably over 50 different kinds of, religious backgrounds, cultural beliefs, and you are trying to run a country. How do you find unity when there's such high differences from a background perspective?
So my thing is this: is that look at our state failed fundamentally.
Yeah,
it was a fundamental failure. The fact that today, in today's day and age, students Wi-Fi access or internet access is not available all across the board, regardless of the class of your LSM and everything.
Yeah.
So that's a failure in itself. But then what you need to understand is that the state funds public schools more than it funds private schools, for instance. In fact, private schools, most of their funding is up to them, right?
More than 330 billion.
Yeah. So now you're looking at a state, and in as much as I see the mistakes of our state, you know I do that.
Yeah.
But you're looking at saving jobs, first of all. For instance, now if you go to private schools, there's a lot of retrenchments happening. That never happens in the public health in the public school system.
Yeah.
There's no retrenchments. Right? So that's one. Now, secondly, they're focusing on building schools and stuff like that. So the burden of that the government has on public school systems is not as much as it's unfair to compare schools, private schools with public schools, because private schools you're talking about like
it's private equity versus public equity.
You know, they're paying a whole lot of money. And now you want to compare that shit to your little tax money? Are you kidding? I'm kidding. So it's what no, but no. But on the real, it's the responsibility is not the same. With public schools, it's easier to stretch the money because they are managed on a school-to-school basis, whereas with the public school system, the budget needs to go to like.
Maybe try and explain what's the difference. Why is the term private school termed private school? What does that mean?
So private school like essentially means that. Wait, what? So private schools are schools that are wait.
Privately owned?
No, yes.
With
privately
private
owned. That's number one.
investors?
Privately owned. But they still have to follow. So there's a body that regulates education in general.
Yeah.
Right. But then private schools are privately owned and they are not dependent on the state. And that's the difference. They're not funded by the state per se. But then at the last analysis, they are given licenses by, if you're talking about private schools in like high school, like primary school and high school, they are still regulated, like they are still subject to the basic ministry, basic education ministry. At the last analysis, and that's why the first lockdown level 5, the state could still be like, y'all are closing. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, and this is a detail that a lot of people are missing and that hasn't been spoken about. The reason why the government said public schools are going to close and didn't close private schools is because the challenges that public schools face are not the same as private schools. And in terms of our constitution, you cannot make an arbitrary decision. In other words, you can't say that because public schools learners are at a higher risk of contracting the virus, I'm also going to close private schools, even if they're not a higher risk, at a higher risk, because that becomes unconstitutional. Because you cannot arbitrarily, because remember, the right of education is it's entrenched in the Bill of Rights, right? So it has limitations. So the limitation that is being used to the right of education to public schools is on the basis that you're going to get sick.
So you have
corona.
the right to be healthy.
You have corona.
At the same time, you have the right to be educated. Now we're just weighing the.
Yes.
Okay.
So in public schools, the likelihood of you being sick is higher than it is at private schools.
Because of the numbers.
Because of the numbers.
Because of
the dynamics. Because of the resources. You know what I mean? So look, we're going to close these public schools. But then now we're not going to close the private schools. Why are we not going to close the private schools? Because the private schools have means around, like you said, the numbers in the classrooms, the resources that they have, the digital resources, and
the fact that this was like 2017, stats that 10% of science labs in public schools are barely functional. And then at the same time, government then goes and says that we need to prioritize science and maths. But yet you're not equipping these schools. So I just wonder a lot of times about who makes these decisions at a government level. Because for me, it means that someone is definitely giving them the wrong data. Right? Because of how then do you make a decision to say, no, let's introduce science, maths, and then we're also going to do it at higher grade, by the way. But yet then, obviously, and that's the fundamental difference. Private schools will have access to everything that is good. Good soccer fields, great teachers that are also well paid, beautiful swimming pool if you want to do swimming, a great athletics pitch, chess, tennis table, table tennis, So yes, and then in the public schools it's a different conversation. Now my question then, who then do we then have to talk to? Because we then cannot then, just because of our government, say, no, let's close public schools. I'm like, but what have you done to equip these public schools?
Yeah.
Right? Why has it taken you so long for you to even have a robust conversation that is also progressive about transformation, especially when it comes to public schools?
So here's the thing. You can, and you are like, I share those same sentiments as you.
Yeah.
It's bullshit that I'm like, but you guys had 26 years. What's going on? Why are we not equal with the private schools?
And not even necessarily equal, right?
But you're at a point where you can compete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the last analysis, Tato, is that if you want to hold a government accountable, that's at the ballot box. That's at the ballot box. You can't hold someone accountable as an ordinary citizen.
Yes, sir.
Nah. And they've got the power and expect them to allow themselves to be held accountable to you willingly. How do we hold people accountable? We hold people accountable, or the government accountable, at the ballot box. Because at the last analysis, whether we like it or not, we are in the situation that we are because of us. We can't blame anybody else. It's us. Because the government doesn't elect itself. It doesn't elect itself. And fine, yes. There's obviously, like politics and everything they use. People will say that they are intentionally keeping people dumb and everything, and that's
what are your thoughts? Is it true? And I mean here, Chumani says are privately owned and mostly are privately owned and mostly their exams are IEB, not NCV, like the government and public schools. So my point is that poor people will suffer and miss out because they don't have money. B. Matsipane says the private schools are more organized. They are confident that their school can run smoothly during these times, whereas public schools, hygiene, water, sanitation remain critical issues. Should we be living in a society where we have private schools? That's another question. Government needs to pull up their socks when it comes to education. Some public schools are not so public. As for instance, they are able to keep the social distance. And my question is, why did they open the schools with such a lot of money in South Africa? And there's a lot of views here that are coming in, which are quite different. And I like that you introduce even the issue of rights.
Yeah.
And then this beautiful bill that was constructively put.
Yes.
But
we've got the best constitution.
You know what I mean?
World.
And like we've got the best constitution, but in practice, it's another thing.
Right.
Exactly. And then you then also realize that in some issues, it's not even about whether your color. It's about how much money you have.
Exactly. So
money can change some rights.
We're going through a system where, for instance, in Cape Town, Cape Town is a classist. It's a classist
society.
City. It's a classist society, like you say. It's a classist society. Tato, when we go to Cape Town, we treated nice. You know what I mean? We treated nice because we treated nice. We treated nice because of what we have. Because of, you know what I mean? Like it's a classist society.
Yeah.
And that's where we're slowly going. and it's a closet society. But then, even in South Africa, a closet society is still racial, because our closet society is still racially based, whereas class-wise, if we're talking generally, people at the higher echelons, the people at the higher LSMs are normally or mostly white, you know. Then you go down, you go to blacks, you know. But then, so it's the racism in Cape Town is not necessarily race-based. It's class based, because Joe Cape Town Joe is thinking and people are gonna disagree with me on this one.
Yeah.
But I've noticed this and I've experienced this myself. Whereas you go meeting and they see who you with, or they see what you have, whatever. It's or where you are at. It's not about your color. They're like, oh shit, that's okay. This is okay. This is one of us. This nigga is one of us. You know what I mean? Like it's not racially based.
Yeah.
But then in South Africa, classism is racial. Classism is racism, because classism is very racial.
Classism is it's about causing division. You know, it's really about causing division. That's why we say always, in chaos there's an opportunity, and in an opportunity there's also exploitation. You know, it's like it can differ. You know, Kami Chu says access and resource are not equal between the two. Also, government should fund NPOs that want to provide these resources. NPOs are part of these communities. You know, who are our choices at the ballot boxes? Who has sold out? Hey, hello, who has sold out? And then I see Pakang here. Also, you know, people are looting with impunity.
Yeah.
There's no consequences for it. DA is a party that romanticizes about apartheid. EFF PR reeks of authoritarianism.
Yeah.
Aish! Bona, Lina, you know, accountability is such a critical thing. And I mean, also yesterday, I think the president also announced, you know, the powers that he's given to SA, you know, to investigate, you know, other departments.
Going back to what I said about, and look, this is
oh man, time flies.
look,
Before we have like 1 minute already.
Look, this is a disclaimer. This is a disclaimer. So the president was a legal trainee at our law firm, the law firm that I'm a director at. He's our mentor, me and Tato. Like from apart from a political point of view, we're on good terms. Tato, me and him, but we don't agree with his policies, and he knows. Nah? So when he comes, like, and here's the thing: we're not trying to push a narrative. We're not trying to push a narrative. We know Cyril. But obviously you've got the ANC dynamics, and even me, I'm like, you know what? I'm against him now as a politician and as our president, but we can still go play golf with him. You know what I mean? It's fine, but we still have our differences and stuff. But then I loved those announcements. I know we're out of time.
Yeah.
We still love those announcements that he made. Then when he said that, look, the SIU, I've got SIU, and he's a type of gent that can actually follow that through. I actually believe in him. Otherwise, I'm gonna come onto the next show and say,
guys, we've got Farah Mubai. We had an interview with her earlier. You can catch the interview live on our Facebook page, Conversational Radio TV. Ladies, what a trailblazing woman. I bet you guys you're going to love this interview. Join the rest of the interview on our Facebook page right now. It's Conversational Radio TV with me. Okay. Technicality, guys. As you know, technology sometimes will fail you. Sometimes it will. But as we are getting news, we are here. We are here. No. Come here.
Come here. No, let me talk to your
Don't
people.
disappear, man. Muso wants to disappear. I'm going to just like, there you are. My people can see you.
Is it me you're looking for? I can see it in Tato's camera. Okay, fuck it. I suck. I'm so sorry, guys, for putting you, I'm so sorry for putting you through that.
Guys, once in a while, you'll get to see this man's face on, on my page. Once in a while. But whenever we allow him to come on the page, we're always about Black Child Rise.
I hate you. Oh, fuck, I hate you. I hate you. Tato, I hate you.
So Muso, actually, we are supposed to discuss the issue of the young man, right? The shooting that happened.
Oh yeah.
The shooting that happened. I'm not sure how many people actually saw the shooting that happened, and I guess we'll also come back to the conversations that we were discussing about the education system, about leadership. As I just love how she phrased it. The people are looting with impunity. There's no consequence for it. Like, where's it go again, Ijo? What happened? What happened with this shooting?
So the shooting I'm talking about is Bedman.
Yeah.
So my boys, and I see he's not online now because obviously he's going through what he's going through. His older brother was shot by cops and stolen from by cops. That's what happened to him.
An unjustified action on a civilian.
They actually posted it, and I told him, he came to me, he's like, dog, can you help me? I'm like, dog, I'm not a personal injury lawyer, but I've got a department at the firm. We can be your eyes and your ears, because a lot of law firms said, look, we want to take care, we want to go take your matter.
Yeah.
So rather and we'll just be there as his consigliers. When I told him, I was like, I'll be your consigliere. He's like, what the fuck does that mean? That's a big word. But I was like, we'll be your consigliers. But what happened is fucked up. What happened is fucked up, Tim. What happened is fucked up, and I think, it's a pity. I think what we should do, and it's necessary, we should actually call him on air, maybe next show, and to find out the progress, because now I'm keeping track of his progress. Yeah. I told him that, look, I got you. Yeah. If you need any references, if ever you got approached by a particular law firm, come to me, tell me, hey, how's this law firm?
I'm worried, man. Without also causing panic. I'm very concerned about the state of people's mindsets during this time. Yeah. Right? Because if it is said that 3 million jobs have been lost in the past 5 months, that's not a...
Three!
Right? And even in Farah's interview, we were talking about last quarter, 56% of young people are unemployed.
Guys, Farai will tell you her position when we play her interview. Let's talk about my brother here. This man did not shed any jobs. What a great employer. This is my nigga. Dog. Imagine, guys. Do you guys understand that? Do you guys understand? Yeah? Do you guys understand that? You guys don't understand that.
No, but I mean, you do whatever you can do, man, to try to save your people. Because there are people that also give you their time. They sacrifice, and you hope that if you can get out of this together, as a team, then you survive the worst and you can make it through, I guess, the worst of the worst.
Look, at the end of the day, dog, it's about conscious capitalism. Yeah. I'm a capitalist as fuck. Yeah. I'm all about, look, are we making money or are we not? Yeah. But at the same time, and I think because not only am I a capitalist, I'm also your attorney, which automatically means that your business is paramount. It's paramount. Your business interest is paramount to your existence. And sometimes I'll lie down, on the pillow with my head, and I'll be like, fuck, I'm a piece of shit, but it's fine as long as my niggas happy. No, but I think absolutely right, dog. It's about conscious capitalism, but then for conscious capitalism to exist and to actually flourish, you need to have an understanding workforce. Yeah. In other words, and you need to be very open with your workforce. You need to be like, look, guys, this is what's happening. This is the balance sheet right now. Yeah. We're doing bad. Yeah. So you've got two options. It's either I retrench you or you agree to not being paid and understand the circumstances and waive your rights to being paid until such a time as the company is making enough money to pay you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in all likelihood, you will never find an understanding workforce
Not when it
because
comes to money.
exactly, and then it's there's nothing wrong with that. Remember, they've got obligations, they've got children, they've got parents, they've got black tax, they've got that. But then they also need to understand that if ever the business is not doing as well as it was, you are entitled to say, okay, I'm gonna retrench you. And what makes it worse for them is that once you retrench them, you are only entitled to pay them for every year that they've worked for you is 1 week's salary. So now you need to get to a point where they need to be very shrewd about, okay, I know my employer. This guy has treated me well all along. And so I know I'm like I'm duty, you know what I mean? So let me stick to him. Let me stick with him. Because once you leave, you out, you know what I mean? But then it's the difficulty in explaining that, especially when people don't know these processes. It's very difficult to explain that to them because it sounds like you want to screw them over.
It's such an important, I guess, conversation also to have, you know, and because I've been wondering how have a lot of employers coped, you know, especially with this process. And I don't want to lie, man. I'm thankful I've got this guy that I can just call him up and say, hey, brother, brother. You know, there are challenges. You know, I'm going through this, and that also speaks to like having the right people around you. Hey, let's go klopa di chomi fela lona. Hey, batho ba tlhopa muso. Batho ba na lo ratso mo toilet a ba kopana le motho a ba re ke braya. Fole. Mara na kwa teng ha ona le content. You know, just because I drive a Ferrari, I just want to be seen doing nice things, you know. And then you get situations like we saw even with my fellow colleague brother, you know, who was caught on camera with a whole lot of other, you know, compromising things happening there, you know. It's just the company sometimes.
The company that you keep. The company that you keep is very important. And look, I'm not. I know I'm not saying too much. You told me that, Jordan. That's our brother. SK is our brother. SK is our brother. Sharp.
There's a outie.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then the problem about being sharp is that you try to overextend your sharpness. Sharp. You try to overextend your kindness. And then now, what do you have? You end up having snakes in the grass. You're just trying to have a good time with everybody.
And then they'll bite you, boy.
They'll fucking bite you, my nigga. You know what I mean? But then, dude, look, Joe, Joe. I know. So I know. Like I know that man get out. And this is through you.
Yeah.
The man get out. And it sucks that when you try to be and that's the problem with trying to overextend yourself, trying to be too nice, trying to apologize for who the fuck you are, trying to apologize for what you've achieved, trying to accommodate everybody. That's the fucking problem with that, dog. Fuck that.
And I'm actually just wondering, you know, and you guys can also just like throw in, you know, is it something that you guys have experienced? Is that where do you strike a balance? And I mean, I've got homeboys that, you know what, they've chosen their path. They say, I'm walking this journey. Now, I get whether you like me, you don't like me, that's fine. You know, like my daughter would always say, Papa, it's fine. What do you mean? It's like, it's fine.
Guys, Tato is a piece of shit. Tato, and no, seriously, and this was something like this is one thing that I appreciate about my brother over here. Tato's unapologetic. This nigga does not give a fuck what you think about him. Because usually what you think about him is based off of a perspective or a perception that you've adopted elsewhere. But once you meet this homie, and you'll know for yourself, Puri, he is really a piece of shit. I'm kidding.
Hey, listen, guys, it's been great. Thank you, everybody that joined into the show. It's been fantastic. Muso, Hey man, I hope you do well with the show. Carry it on. Take the baiting. Zina, Mark, Lani, thank you very much, guys. It's been so great. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. But you know what? I won't just leave because you know what? I want to just give a shout out to our girl, to our producer, to this hardworking young lady, Zina, because we're gonna play her music video.
Yeah.
Right? Because she's a talented singer.
Talented.
There seems to be so much talent in this team. Right? You've got a creative who does like these beautiful portraits. Marky Jackson. Marky Jordan.
No, it's Michael. It's Michael Jordan.
Oh, yes.
It's Michael Jordan. He's all these words.
He's Michael Jordan Jackson. It's like MJJ.
Michael Jordan Jackson.
It's like an MJJ.
Marky. No, in fact, his name is Edric.
Ooh.
Edric. Yes.
Wow, Mark, I hope you heard that. And then, then we've got Lani. Super engineer.
Lonnie.
He makes us sound good every single Friday, 4 to 6.
And he's given me some dope beats. They must know that we're releasing soon.
You know
we're
what I
releasing
mean.
Soon.
And then we've got Lebo making sure that we're looking solid graphically.
Yes.
Bringing with that fire, the spirit.
Posters.
Bona man. And then of course, we've got the rest of the Abundant Media team. And then we've got the Gateway Media team, and then we've got SMM team. Man, like, we are here.
It's crazy.
We are here. Partnerships and collaborations that make sense. So really, it's really just about promoting, collaborations and partnerships that make sense, that have sustainability models, that are about social cohesion. Coming together, working together so that we can change this country. Let's stop blaming government all the time. Yes, government is wrong, but what are you doing? What are you doing?
We need to work together. That's what we need to do.
We just need to work together, because we hear Muso, he's driving his Ferrari tomorrow, or he bought himself 10 properties, and then he's got major businesses that are doing well.
Let's go and tell more, guys.
I
know you don't, man.
And I want you to grow.
No, I know you don't. And
you know what I mean?
And that's the beauty of it. I know that we like and here's the thing, right? So that this is what I first asked myself before. So my relationship with Tato was professional. It was started on a professional basis, whereas he's like, shit, I heard that you the shit at what you do. Tato, I know you the shit at what you do. I'll be your attorney. He was my client, and then we became engaged on that basis. But then after that, our friendship developed after the fact that we have a business relationship, whereas boundaries are solidly drawn. And then we became mates, and then that's when we were like, oh shit, we actually have a lot of synergies. There's a lot of things that we can do together. And on that basis, and this is where I saw jealousy. And because jealous, like this nigga will tell me his moves. And remember that day when you were this guy came to my office, like he was like, Joe, let's go have some Ghanaian food, right? I'm hungry, let's go have some Ghanaian food. He comes to my office, I'm like, okay, I'm just finishing off some work. He comes inside my office, we chilling. And then we end up talking for an hour and a half about his vision. His vision about where he's going, which is incredible. Like, this guy's gonna be a billionaire. So it's like, I was like, what the fuck, dude? You just schooled me on some shit. And then also me, whenever I told him, I was like, okay, so this is what I'm doing. He was like, oh my God.
Amazingness. Raman, guys, time. All right. I'm about to sign off. Are you ready? Signing off.
I think I might like him. Maybe just a little too much. He said, let me take you out for a drink. I'd like to get to know you even for a little bit. But time has got me curious. This can't be serious. I'm just nervous. I thought you wouldn't notice. I've been thinking about the day we met. The way you stole my heart and it just never made sense. I could be overthinking it. I'm just admitting that I just want your time. And I think about you day and night. All I want is just one ride in the city light. I was thinking that you were the coolest, funny, and you know what makes me wanna lose it. Baby, are you satisfied, satisfied, satisfied? It was like a movie and I was your Bella. I promise you that I'll be there forever. Baby, are you satisfied, satisfied? I can make you satisfied. I said, I already know who I want. You won't be playing games, so don't think you're here to stunt. But I just wanna lie with you, waste all my time with you. I can't help it, you're making me blush. I'm usually scared to be loved by somebody, so don't blame me, be my baby. I could be the one, 'cause I think about you day and night. All I want is just one look into your eyes. I was thinking that you were the coolest, funny, and you know what makes me wanna lose it. Baby, are you satisfied, satisfied, satisfied? It was like a movie and I was your Bella. I promise you that I'll be there forever. Baby, are you satisfied, satisfied? I can make you satisfied. So trust me when I say I will never go away. Can we breathe the same air anywhere? Sing our songs at night. Everything you need I'll provide. You're the one I need. I was thinking that you were the coolest, funny, and you know it makes me wanna lose it. Baby, are you satisfied, satisfied, satisfied? It was like a movie and I was your Bella. I promise you that I'll be there forever. Baby, are you satisfied, satisfied? I can make you satisfied. Satisfied, baby, if you're satisfied, I'll always be satisfied.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Conversational Radio. And as promised, we are bringing you Firai, Miss Fafa, Firai Mugwai. You know, if ever you want to say it in La Frenzon, you know, it was
The Frenzon is something like small.
And I think one of the greatest things is what you've written behind you. That's like one of my most favorite, most empowering quotes. Just for the sake of the audience, can you just, Jay, what is the quote behind you? Our deepest? Come on. Come on.
Awesome.
Come on.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
Shut it down, Ken. This show is done. That's the message, guys. That was the purpose of this whole interview.
It was nice. It was nice talking to you, Farai. We'll catch up with you later. Great words. That was dope. Well done.
Oh
All
wow.
right, all right. So it's me and my crazy friend here, Muso Matlala, and I think we always wanting to drive real meaning
Ooh.
Friday. You
Farai, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but I've
Okay.
lost Tato.
But you lost Tato.
Yeah.
No, I think what he wanted to say was that it's so good having you. It's so dope, and he was calling me the crazy friend. He's the crazy friend, you know. And yeah, man, like so I just want to get right down into the crux of things. The other two years ago, I was at some Section 12J marketplace, and I think it was just after Yes, which is Youth Employment Service. I would, yeah, if I remember correctly. It was shortly after it was launched, and they were I think it was the CEO at the time. She was there, I think, trying to solicit some investments. So my question, like, what I want to know is, okay, first of all, what is Yes, and secondly, where does it get its funding? Because my understanding is that I think it's almost like a government initiative. I could be wrong, but the minute she was there, coming to the private sector and asking money from us and like everybody else, it suggests that look, there's additional funding that is required, and they're not getting from government per se. So first of all, I want to know what exactly is Yes. What are the problems that Yes that were identified for Yes to be um, established, and where do you get the funding, and how do you choose your criteria of where you're going to get the funding? Because you don't want to get funding from like just anybody, you know, because you don't want people to
That
just,
was a 3-minute question, by the way.
yeah, sorry, yeah,
Just
you
so
don't
you,
want to be a scorecard, you don't want to
just
be a
so you know.
scorecard, you know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
Where'd you get in touch? Yeah.
So Yes is the Youth Employment Service, and essentially we are a business-led, not-for-profit organization. And we work with the Department of Labor and with private sector so that we can combat youth unemployment. When you ask where Yes gets its funding from, Yes is sponsored by the private sector. So we leverage funding from your corporates who want to increase their BE scorecard or who want to have, great CSI impact and want to invest that money into creating youth jobs. And we bring that money in and find work experiences for young people. I think what's been really awesome with Yes is that in the past year and a half, almost 2 years, Yes has created 38,000 jobs, which is awesome because if you think about it, Yes is essentially a startup. And I think what's even more important about the sort of jobs that Yes has created for unemployed youth is that the jobs vary and range across 10 different sectors. So from healthcare to manufacturing to even the digital sector. And I think, it's so important that we actively combat youth unemployment. South Africa's youth unemployment rate at the end of Q4 last year was, if I'm not mistaken, at 56.4%. That
That's
means
correct.
that one in every young person is unemployed. So it's so important that we actively leverage whatever organizations we can to combat this issue.
So when you say that you've created 38,000 jobs, if I heard you correctly there, um you know which is brilliant. Like, well done. Like, I don't understand how you've done that in like what, 2 years. Congratulations. But then, do you guys have like a? Do you guys keep track of what those what happens to those jobs? Because a lot of the time, you'll get corporates tell you that we're employing 50,000 young people every year, and then you find out that this is like a 3-month temporary contract of employment. So when you say you've created 38,000 jobs, um, are there metrics? Do you have metrics where you're like, okay, no, these are temporary jobs,
or this is part-time, this is permanent, you know, like I'm just,
Yeah, that's an important question. So how YES works is that if an unemployed youth approaches YES and says, right, I would like work experience opportunities, they apply, and then if they're successful, and the nice thing is that there's no stringent criteria to be on the YES program. You have to be either Black, colored, or Indian and under age 35, and therefore you're eligible. I think it's really good that we don't have barriers like you need a matric to get work experience, because I think that really hinders a lot of young people. So a young person applies and they're on the YES program for 1 year. After that, they are linked to what we call permanent opportunities or post-program opportunities. And that for me is the most important thing, because I think you can be employable for a year, but if you end up unemployed again, then you are disempowered. So if we can ensure that we're creating 38,000 sustainable jobs for young people, then I think that's how we truly win. What's nice and what helps us is that we work with 35 partner organizations who are across different sectors, who work with us to house the youth, ensure they get quality work experience, and who will then also ensure that post the program, youth are linked to other opportunities. It does vary on the industry in terms of how successful that linking would be. Some industries like healthcare, the post-program opportunities security rate is up to 90%, because we need more healthcare workers. Other industries like manufacturing, for example, it could be in anything from like 5% to 10%, because perhaps the need there is not as much as it would be in healthcare or education. But ultimately for us, the goal is that we're creating sustainable employment opportunities for unemployed young people.
Okay. I mean, Bon, it's absolutely fantastic that at least, you know, young people do get the opportunity to plug into opportunities. And I guess maybe my question then is, you know, we're looking at a 56% unemployment rate. We're looking at a skills shortage, which is quite high in our country. Now, then from a YES perspective, the focus is not necessarily then in the training and upskilling of young people, but it's finding work opportunities. Yet now we are hit by COVID, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of small, medium businesses are going to shut down, probably about 40% by November. You know, what are some of the interventions that then the YES program is looking into? Because now there's not going to be a lot of jobs going around. So is it now, is the KPI going to shift now to be more entrepreneurial development, more than now saying that we want to create young people that are job seekers? Because I think we've missed an opportunity as a country to build young leaders who are innovators, right? So that they create more jobs, because we do need more small businesses being on the come up. So I'm just not sure from your end, you know, obviously being faced with this pandemic, you know, what are some of maybe the new models that the YES program is building in order to combat that challenge?
Yeah, I think that's a really important question. And the first thing I want to do is to take a step back to the initial statement you made about whether YES is just about job opportunities, also upskilling youth. A huge component of the YES program is that youth are upskilled, and we do that through physical training and inductions. So you'll have your initial work readiness induction, and then wherever you're receiving your work experience, there's that further training. So if we're looking at healthcare workers particularly, which is where I've worked in the space before, you are then trained to be an HIV lay counselor, or you are trained to be an HIV self-screener or a data capture in a clinic. So there's definitely the training component. In addition to that, every YES youth gets what we call a YES phone, and they get the phone preloaded and zero rated with YES apps. YES apps are essentially 35 modules that teach you about everything and anything from entrepreneurship to self-leadership to money management to career readiness. So throughout your whole program, there's that constant learning and development. In terms of, you know, answering the latter part of the question, which is ultimately COVID-19 has made it so difficult for so many people, so many countries around the world. We've seen economic declines to up to 8%, which, like you have rightly said, have huge implications on small to medium-sized businesses. Now, what is YES doing in this regard? I think it's been interesting because we've taken three really important steps to ensure that we are still upskilling young people in light of COVID-19. The first thing is that we have placed so much emphasis on YES youth, on the importance of digital skills. So to say, you know what, you're a part of a of not enough people in our country who have got access to a mobile phone, how can you ensure that you're learning and using and taking advantage of the fact that you've got zero-rated apps which are knowledge bases? But more than that, how do you keep learning with your phones? How do you ensure that you're tech savvy? How do you get digital skills? The second thing we've been looking at is how do we empower township entrepreneurs? So how do we look at the gig economy is often seen as not being sustainable enough. But in light of COVID-19, gig jobs, albeit they short term, are so important to keep the economy going. So we've been looking at how do we reinvest in township entrepreneurs, even if they are short-term gig opportunities. And something YES has done really well is that we've got 3 YES hubs. 2 of them are currently work in process, 1 work in progress. 1 is in Tembisa, the Tembisa hub. And pre-COVID-19, that was ultimately a space for youth to get training. But post-COVID-19, we want it to be a space where SMMEs can come and devise your business plans, get that mentorship you need, and then be able to then formulate and start your own business. Okay, the third thing that we've been doing lots of, just one more thing. The third thing we've been doing lots of is to say, you know what, we've got so many young people who have got different skills, including seamstresses. How do we empower seamstresses in this time of COVID where masks are so essential so that they can keep having a source of income, they can empower others? So we've had a lot more youth seamstresses whose products are not only within the South African market, but have been exported to, if I'm not mistaken, to Belgium just a few weeks ago. So those are the different innovations we've been looking at. In addition to those 3, we have been engaging in what we call YES sprints, where we're trying to figure out, all right, where are the current gaps in our society and how can we ensure that we are creating work opportunities for youth in those gaps? So, and a huge gap is healthcare, where we have a shortage of healthcare workers, not only in South Africa, but in the continent. And how do we prepare young people for the different skills gaps?
Okay, so 2 things. So the first thing is, look, you guys are doing great work, incredible, very noble, excellent, love it. But the youth employment service is, if I understand it correctly, it's punted to actually help the whole, the youth in general in South Africa, regardless of whatever industry that they trained in or they're trained, like wherever they're educated and stuff. So is it because remember, we're at a point whereas there's helpless youth, whereas look, they'll be like the ones that you help in healthcare will be very happy and be like, okay, no, this is great, and it makes perfect sense to the rest of us, as people who understand the whole job ecosystem and everything. But then you get people out there who are desperate, who are like, why are they focusing on this and this and that? You know what I mean? So what would you say to the desperate youth that are like, okay, no, I feel like the youth employment service is not here to help me. It's not here to help me because they're focusing on this and this and that. What would you tell them to actually, give them some hope, to actually believe that the youth employment service is actually going to do something for them? Because there's a lot of hopelessness, and I think more than we fighting youth unemployment, we're fighting hopelessness. So what would you do or say to them?
Preach, Father.
All right, so I mean, I think you are absolutely spot on that there is so much hopelessness in our country. And one of my favorite things about what I do, and it's why I made the switch from accounting to work in the NGO space, but it's because I love waking up every day knowing that the work I have done has contributed to changing someone else's life. And I think the most important thing to realize is that YES is a huge player in this industry, and we work across multiple sectors. And I definitely think within where we work, there are so many entry points for everyone. But the other important thing to realize is that there are so many players in this space. There is YES, there is Harambe, there is Enke, there is Youth Capital. There are so many players within the space. Absolutely. And I think it's fantastic having the different players, because it means that then there's an entry point for everyone. So the first thing is to realize that there are entry points for all of us. We can all find our space. And there's so many different people out there who want to change the situation of youth unemployment in our country. The second thing I'd say is that one of my favorite pieces of advice is not that it should come from me to unemployed youth, but from former unemployed youth to unemployed youth. And one of the key messages that any Yes Youth has shared as they are exiting the program, and the key messages they share to their peers, is that don't give up, because there are so many people out there who want you to succeed. And I think you can see that, and it's definitely there. And just this afternoon, I had an interview with an unemployed youth. He's been unemployed since last year, December. Okay. And I was actually just saying to my partner before this interview that I cannot believe how inspired I was. This guy is a year younger than me, hasn't had the privileges that I have had, and I'm very open about the privileges I've had. Has been unemployed since December last year. And when I asked him, what have you done in that time? He said, I have done every single free LinkedIn course that I could find that is tech related. And just that drive, that perseverance. I then said to him, I mean, what do you want to do ultimately? And he's like, I just want to work. Wow. So my goal, after being so inspired from that, is to say, okay, where can we find different opportunities for him? And it can be at Yes, it can be at Cisco, it can be at Harambee. There's so many players, but it's that drive and that passion. And I think, I mean, I often tell people that a lot of people underestimate unemployed youth, especially unemployed youth that don't have a matric or a diploma or a degree. But that is where you find the best ideas, the best innovations to take our country forward.
One more thing. Listen, listen. You know the problem is.
Wait.
Look. We need to find out more about her now, because we've asked her what she does, and it's going to be so unfair if we don't find out more about her.
How do you know what I'm going to ask if you don't give me an opportunity?
I'm just saying, fella and Jay, putting it there so that we know that what we're asking.
Please forgive my crazy co-host. You know, that's the beauty about it. And I think it's really always about a good energy. And I think the hopelessness in this country is one of our biggest diseases, right? Worse than, for me, even COVID. Because of that by itself, it means that an idle mind, you know, is sitting there thinking that there are no opportunities. Yes, we've got a lot of other social inequality issues of access to data, access to water, access to transport, access to a lot of things, right? And also we have a leadership crisis in this country, like at an alarming rate. It's you know, so I've always just wondered, you know, is that we've got a lot of different entities that are trying to solve the problem. My question is there an integrated conversation that is happening with all the different stakeholders? Because if you are serving one cause, you know, and I always make this example, it's like you've got 15 churches, right? All saying that we are praying to one God, but they're running a different narrative and creating division. Is that maybe something that we are currently facing in our country? That's why even our youth are finding that there is no opportunity for us, you know, to plug into where the opportunities are.
Sure. And I think I'm excited you asked that, because it's been so interesting to see the coordination within the, what we call it, the youth development space. And definitely there is an increasingly becoming an integrated approach to saying, all right, you're doing this, we're doing that. Yes, we may do things a bit differently, but ultimately it's about empowering your unemployed youth. I think what has brought it all together and what has, I think, improved and furthered the integration is that you've got the President's 5x5 plan, which is ultimately, I think it's called the Presidential Initiative for Youth Unemployment. And ultimately what that plan does is that it says through using 5 steps over the next 10 years, we will ensure that we combat youth unemployment. And this is how we'll do it. The first step looks at how do we have a single pathway for unemployed youth to go onto a database or some sort of platform or pathway where they are redirected to different opportunities. Those who like volunteering services and want to give back to the community while also earning some stipend will be within what we call the 5th pillar. Those who want to get work experience will be within, I think it's the 4th pillar. Those who are in TVET colleges will also form part of the fourth pillar. Those who are entrepreneurs and interested in township-based economies will be in the second pillar, and it goes on. And I think that is fantastic because we've got now an integrated mechanism between all youth development practitioners to say, this is how we'll work together, not just in silos, but the government has their part, we all have our part, and ultimately we are contributing to empowering youth in the country. So definitely keep an eye out for that. There's a lot of cool developments there.
Have you heard of Vola?
Ndate Muso, I will reverse so that I can allow you to ask. I'm reversing. Can you see?
Have you heard of Vola? Have you heard of Vola?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I'm going to put you in touch. Conrad is going to put you in touch with Vola. Vola is an amazing, like those guys are doing like the most. So basically Vola stands for, well, it's the name is derived from dollar and V volunteer. So it's like the volunteer dollar, where people actually earn money from volunteering. But we'll have a chat about that off air. But what I wanted to, I think Tato and I were doing you a disservice because we out here just like, yo, what are you doing? What's going on? So I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice and our viewers a disservice. We're not finding out because like you're so well spoken, you know your shit. So we just want to know more about you now, you know. Who are you? Where do you come from? And I think the question that Tato and I want to know the most is, why are you in this space? Because you could be making money there, hedge funds everywhere. Why are you here? You know, but yeah, but like we just want to find out more about you.
Yeah. So like you said, my name is Farang Ubayiwa. I like to call myself an African hybrid. My dad is from Zim, mom is South African. So I think I grew up in a really Pan-African household. And because of that, and yeah, just because of seeing how my parents have always upheld values, how my mom in particular has always demonstrated resilience. I've grown up with a very strong Pan-African feminist view. And so, yeah, in terms of who I am, what I do, like you said, I definitely swerved away from the accounting space. And it's interesting because in school, once I finished school, I chose accounting because I was really good at numbers. I think at school I was called an overachiever. Spokazi you would know about this. And I was always
now. Wait.
So I was always really, really academically inclined and chose accounting because I mean it made sense. I was really good at numbers and thought it's a great way to make money. I went to Stellenbosch University, and there I was exposed to a lot of the inequalities my parents shielded me from. There I was exposed to matters of race, of patriarchy, of classism. And I think when you're exposed to that, you can do one of two things. And my mom has always taught my sister and I this. You can either sit and do nothing, which makes you complicit in the evil, or you can take action. And definitely from my first day of uni, I decided to take action. So I was involved in student politics, I protested. There was a time when my granny even saw me on TV protesting topless, which was a whole family crisis. And then, once I completed my studies, I then said, okay, I finished my accounting degree, but I can't do my honors. And I had to negotiate with my parents to say, I know people that love accounting but fail at honors. Imagine how much worse with myself. I just doesn't want to do this anymore. So I did management accounting, went to work for Deloitte for just under a year. While I was working in corporate, I realized that actually this is not for me. I can do it, but I don't have that drive and that fire. I got a great opportunity to go and do my master's. I went abroad, did my master's for a year, and there I was in a class that had about 60 plus nationalities. Everyone from different countries, particularly those in the global south, which was amazing. Lecturers from Nigeria, from Peru, from the UK, and I was like, this is incredible.
Are you sure you don't have presidential ambitions? Because one thing I've noticed, no, seriously, one thing I've noticed is this, and one of my mates have told me this. They were like, look, if you want to become a president, especially in the UK, the first thing you have to do is you have to be involved in an NGO. That's number one. Right? No, seriously. So, like, if you've got presidential ambitions, it's fine. We'll support you. Conrad is here for you, and that's all good, man.
I'll answer that question in like 2 seconds, but I think it's a good question. So yeah, like I said, when I was in the UK, a lot of my friends were either working for NGOs in their countries or were working for government, and I was like, but why didn't I just do that? I had never considered it before. I always thought corporate was the only way for one to make something out of themselves. And once I got back to SA, started looking at NGOs, was approached by a few. One of my old school teachers came to me and recruited me for an NGO. And then I was like, shoot, people have such misconceptions of NGOs, from like how you get paid to what you do to the impact. And yeah, I worked for the Aurum Institute. Now I'm working for Yes, where I report to a badass woman leader. I hope I can say that on radio, but yeah, she is
whatever you want.
and she is incredible, and I love what I do. I wake up every day with such a sense of purpose, even when I am not having the best of days or I'm not in the best of moods. Just knowing who the ultimate recipient is of the work that we do is so encouraging. The team is awesome. Yeah, everyone's motivated. And lastly, with your question about ever having presidential ambitions, my partner is currently a lawyer and an activist, and lots of people see us and they're like, okay, you know, they call us the Barack and Michelle of South Africa.
Oh.
So I think, you know, so I think he can deal. He does really well with the presidential elements. I am too soft. I once conducted job interviews and I said yes to all 300 candidates.
That's why you work for Yes, girl. That's why you work for Yes. Because you're a yes lady. Listen. I think that's such a fantastic story. You know, here in Conrad TV, man, time always flies, especially when you have meaningful conversations. But Farai, you know, I believe that this interview will not only just touch me and the Moose and the Conrad viewers, but I think it will touch a whole lot of other young women, you know, because you spoke about the importance of partnership, you know, with you and your partner coming together and collaborating, you know, and having a common vision. You know, you spoke about the importance of working for NGO, giving yourself and giving your time, right? In order for you to understand when people come to you and say that, listen, I have a problem, I have a challenge, you know, that as a leader, you are holistic in your view and in your thinking. But also at the same time, you know, speaking about transitioning and having drive, that action part, you know, when you say action, you know, and I guess maybe that's why I got into TV, because I just love action. I'm driven by action. You know, my nickname used to be Passion, because if that's actually
true. That's actually true.
I'm passion driven, you know. And then, you know, with this particular time when this country is feeling so hopeless, I believe that leadership is like just in taking the time just to make time and talk about what Yes is about, you know, what the work is about, speaking also about yourself. It's just that there is hope. There is hope, you know, and I love that you spoke about Pan-Africanism. So my sister, to you, I say salute. From Conrad TV, we love you. Shine on. In your presidential campaign, we are behind you, Farai.
I'm not behind you. I am not behind you. I am not behind you.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And I enjoy talking to the both of you.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Go!
Is that we are powerful?
Beyond measure.
Beyond measure. Girl, you're a leader. Change Africa. Pan-African. I'm out. Yeah, fine. Can I?
Yeah, that's what I'm about, man.
It's Conrad TV, no hearsay. Hey, hey. One thing is certain, it's gonna be crazy, yo.
Conversational Radio TV, just different.
Hey.